Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
All right. A little late, but oops.
Just on time. Just starting. Okay, so last time we were studying about the character of Torah. We were analyzing the verse from Zion, Torah will emerge, and the word of Hashem will come out of Jerusalem. So here's where were we up to? Where were we going? We were discussing how it's possible for there to be two opinions, and both opinions to be divine. For sure, Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, when they gave a halachic ruling, they were not giving halachic rulings based upon divine inspiration only, because the Torah says that you can only give a halachic ruling based upon your understanding. Torah is not in heaven. So you have to give a ruling in halacha based upon what your mind understands. And yet, their rulings are called in the Torah and the Talmud Div Elu ve'el Div Elokim Chaim. Both the opinion of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel are the words of the living God. How could they both be divine? Either the divine opinion is Beis Shammai or the divine opinion is Beis Hillel, it would seem. So the answer is that even within divinity, even within the divine, there are various divine energies. And we gave a parable last time about the soul powers. Power of seeing, the power of hearing, that the body is built in a way that the various limbs of the body are able to articulate what the soul possesses. So the power of eyesight, when it comes into the eye, then now you're able to see. And the power of hearing, when it comes into the ear, you're able to hear. The eye and the ear take the soul power and they allow the soul power to function the way that we need to. And similar to the way the soul powers impact the body, same as also in regards to feelings. When you feel happiness is a feeling, a spiritual feeling, yet that affects your physical body, so that you smile, so that you're animated, so that you sing. So although the body is not in the same realm as the soul, the power of eyesight and the power of hearing are spiritual powers. The feeling of happiness is a spiritual feeling. And yet, the body functions in sync with what the soul is experiencing. So much so that the physical body, although it's physical and its feelings and are spiritual, there is the soul's experience is mirrored in the body. So in a similar way, in regards to Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel, although they're using their minds to understand Allah, and the human mind is no comparison at all to anything divine, but nevertheless, Hashem contracted His light to function in various ways. As we're discussing, Hashem contracted His light, contracted His infinite light to function in a way of kindness, for example. And the soul of Beis Shammai, his soul comes from the realm of Hashem's kindness. So because his soul is a conduit for Hashem's kindness, and Beis Hillel is a conduit for Hashem's kindness, his soul is a conduit for Hashem's kindness. And he doesn't have an ego. So he experiences Hashem's kindness and his mind gravitates towards the ruling of kindness, because his soul is feeling and hearing and receiving Hashem's kindness. It's analogous to our body hearing and the soul's experience, and therefore the body responds to the soul's experience, and the body functions in sync with the soul, what's happening in the soul. Yes, the soul is spiritual, yes, the body is physical, but the body's experience, the soul's experience finds expression in the body. The body is a sign of what's going on in the soul, what's going on in the soul. As the previous service said, you could see in someone's face their mahalach hanefesh. You could see what's going on inside them in their face. So the parable we're saying is that the limbs of the body are physical, and yet they are functioning. They are a vessel for a spiritual energy. The face is physical, and yet it is a mirror for a spiritual experience. And so to the intellect of Esham and Beis Hillel, although it's a human intellect, and although they're great tzaddikim, but their human intellect has no comparison at all for Hashem's kindness, Hashem's judgment. They're human. They're still human, but nevertheless, there is a reflection of Hashem's kindness in the mind of Beis Hillel. The mind of Beis Hillel is not in the same realm as Hashem's kindness. It's physical. It's a human being's mind. The mind of a tzaddik, but it's still a human being's mind. There's no comparison to the kindness of Hashem. And yet, just like our power of eyesight is able to be expressed through the human eye, and our power of hearing is able to express the human ear, and our happiness is expressed in our face, so too the divine element of kindness is expressed in the mind of Beis Hillel. And the same is also in all Torah giants throughout history, especially until the 1650s, until the pogroms, Tach and Tak, till the writings of the Shach and the Taz, when there was the Bogan Khmelnytsky and the Cossacks, till that time, no, that was later. This was the Crusaders. Till the time of the Crusaders, Tach and Tak. The tradition is that every Torah book was written with divine inspiration, and afterwards, some, most, whatever. But the point is that the reason they're able to do this is because they were so devoted to Hashem that their minds function in sync with their soul, the divine soul. So though Shach and Taz is what? Shach and Taz is the Crusaders, right? Isn't the story of the Shach's daughter? Shach's daughter was escaped from 1650s is when it's okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Chaim.
I thought it was the Shach and Taz. Shach and Taz was later.
Okay. On this, they thought that okay. I think there were two Crusaders, but Yonatan is pumping iron now. He's not going to bump it. It's 3 Crusaders.
All within 100.
All right. So either way, there was
Four.
What?
There were 4 crusades.
Oh, there we go. So 1650s, we're talking about Khmelnytsky. And either way, the point isn't about Khmelnytsky and Machshameh. The point is that all the books of Torah written to that point, we have this tradition from the Alter Rebbe that they were written by divine inspiration. What's divine inspiration mean? Not that these sages were trying to channel divine, but rather they were trying to use their minds to understand the Torah. And because they were so devoted to Hashem, so they were able to channel their neshama's experience, and their souls were speaking in their minds. Their minds, they were using their minds, but their mind was a mirror to their soul's experience. So they had some kind of Torah insight, and the Torah insight was from their soul. So that's the meaning of the words from Zion comes out Torah. The word Zion means a sign that they are that their souls were assigned for this for their soul's experience. Their souls were assigned for the divine energy within their soul. The Beis Shammai's mind, Beis Hillel's mind, was functioning in sync with Chesed and Gvura, with God's kindness, God's judgment, and that's how their minds were working. And that's how every Torah giant who had divine inspiration, he's using his mind, but his mind, because he has no ego, he's worked on himself so much that his mind is in sync with his soul. Okay, but that's only Torah. From Zion comes out Torah. The next part of the verse says that the word of Hashem comes out of Yerushalayim. The word of Hashem refers to halacha. Halacha is not like the rest of the Torah. Halacha is connected to the word of Hashem. Hashem, unlike the word Elokim, which is also a divine name, the name Havaya is called Hashem, refers to Hashem's essence. The Sefer HaParadis explains the difference between the name Havaya and the other names of Hashem. When we understand this difference, we'll understand why halacha requires more than the rest of the Torah. But just where we're going is halacha requires a person not to be in sync with his soul, to give away his ego and to be in sync with his soul, in order to understand in your mind halacha, you have to completely leave the parameters of the intellect completely. It's not enough to just leave your ego, but halacha requires more. So we'll see why halacha is associated with Yerushalayim by first understanding what the name Havaya means. So again, Havaya is a name that refers to God's essence. There are many names of Hashem, and the Sefer HaPardis, Mishkar explains the two differences between all of the names of Hashem and then Yud Kei Vav Kei, the name which refers to Hashem's essence. All the names of Hashem have are also used in the Torah for other things. For example, the name Elokim, the name of Hashem, that name is also used in Parshas Mishpatim to refer to judges. The Torah says, "Do not curse a judge." What's the word the Torah uses for judges? Elokim. We also have just read in the Torah the name Aleph Dal Nun Yud by Lot. It uses the name Hashem of Aleph Dal Nun Yud, that name of Hashem, to refer to the angels. So we find Hashem's names being used for mundane things, not for divine. Eli ha'aretz lakach, the strong men of the people, the strong men of the land. Ele, which is the same root as the name Kale, is used to describe strong men. So only Yud Kei Vav Kei has no mundane application. Never used in the Torah to describe something mundane. Yud Kei Vav Kei is only a name of Hashem, not for anything else. That's one difference between Havai and other names. Another difference is all the names of Hashem have a translation, they have some meaning. For example, the name Adonai, Aleph Dal Nun Yud, that means master. The name Kale, Aleph Lamed, that refers to how Hashem is a chassid, Hashem is kind. The name Elokim refers to how Hashem is mighty. The name Havaya, Yud Kei Vav Kei, has no explanation. We do refer to the word Mahave, creator, and that's associated with Yud Kei Vav Kei. That's not the translation of Yud Kei Vav Kei. That's just Yud Kei Vav Kei alludes to how Hashem is a creator of the world, but that's not the translation of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yud Kei Vav Kei has no translation. All their names have a translation and a meaning. Yud Kei Vav Kei has no meaning. All their names have a mundane application. Yud Kei Vav Kei is never used for anything mundane. And both these differences, as the Paris explains, are intertwined. All the names of Hashem are about how Hashem contracted his light to function a certain way. Because Hashem is contracting his light to function a certain way, so there's something that a human being has, Hashem created us in his image, to the divine light that Hashem has contracted. There's something about our experience, about our persona, that mirrors the divine. So although there's no comparison at all between the human being and anything in the world to the divine, but nevertheless, there is, let's say it this way. It says in Tanya, the author writes that in letter 15, Avraham Avinu said about himself, "I am but dust and ashes." So the author explains that Avraham Avinu was talking about his attribute of kindness. Avraham Avinu, so kind, as we learned in Yom Yom last week, that God's attribute of kindness compared to Hashem, it has nothing to do because Avraham was functioning in its stead. But Avraham Avinu still knew about himself that despite his greatness, despite his incredible kindness, he is but dust and ash. What's the meaning of ashes? What is he saying? Kind. A tree has in it the four elements: fire, water, wind, and earth. As everything in the world has in it four elements. But when you burn the tree, so then you're left only with the element of earth, and that's the ash. The rest of it goes up in the smoke. The other elements, the fire, water, and wind, they go up in the smoke, and only the element of earth is in the ashes. So the ashes have no comparison at all to the tree, although it's the same essence as the tree. Tree and the ashes are made of the same substance. Again, there's no comparison at all between them. So to Avraham Avinu said, you might think, without Avraham telling us this, that his kindness has some similarity to Hashem's kindness. One is bigger than the other, one's infinite, one's finite. So Avraham says, no, it's of the same essence, it's both functioning as kindness. There's no comparison at all to his kindness and the divine. The whole comparison is only that it's the same substance. This is just like the ashes are the same substance as the tree. But the truth is, the Alter says in Tanya, it's the distance between the ashes and the tree are far great. It's far smaller. The distance between Avram's kindness and the divine kindness. But we're still using that as an example because the Torah speaks in prose, so we should have some understanding. So therefore, that's what Avram said, that he is like dust and ashes, although it's the distance between his kindness and divine kindness is far greater. But nevertheless, despite the difference between divine kindness and human kindness, we still, since Hashem is contracting himself to a certain parameter, we could still draw a line in some way. That's why the other names of Hashem, they have a translation and they have a mundane application. They have a translation because it's the way Hashem is contracting his life, and they have a mundane application because this attribute of Hashem's kindness or Hashem's judgment has a parallel in the human experience. However, the name Havaya, name Yukevavke, is the way Hashem is, without any contractions. And therefore, it cannot, there's no mundane application. Therefore, no translations about it. So what does the Torah say? From Zion will come out Torah, but from the word of Hashem will come out from Jerusalem. In order to be able to channel Torah, you need to be in sync. Your soul has to hear Hashem's words the way your soul can, depending on what your soul is. Just like the limbs of your body channel the soul in certain ways. Your eye sees what your ear hears. Your soul is a fine expression in your body, according to what your body, according to various limbs of the body, the way they are, the way the parameters are. So too, it's possible for a person to be so devoted to Hashem, to abnegate his ego to such an extent that his soul is resonating in his mind in such a way that his mind discovers an insight of Torah, a divine insight of Torah, which is true, which is real, which is Hashem's words. But that's only to receive Torah. However, to receive halacha, to actually come to halachic ruling, that comes out of Yerushalayim. What's Yerushalayim? Yerushalayim, as we learned, is made of two words: Yerushalayim, absolute fear of Hashem. You say in davening about the various angels and the sun and the moon that they go to do the will of Hashem with fear. But the angels are joyful to do Hashem's will, but they do Hashem's will with the aim of yira, with fear and awe. Why? They're afraid they may not do it right. In a similar way, when a person knows that he has to give a halachic ruling, and the Jew may follow his halachic ruling and do something based upon his instruction, it makes him scared, because he's going to possibly cause someone to go against God's will. And therefore, when studying halacha, there is a sense of fear, of dread, that you may not get it right. You may say halachic ruling, and it may not be what Hashem wants. Therefore, there's this trepidation. There was a guy who asked the Rebbe Rashab if he should become a sheikh. And he told Rebbe Rashab he's afraid of becoming a sheikh because he may not do things right. Rebbe Rashab responded, who then should become a sheikh? Someone's not afraid. Only if you have that fear are you in the category of becoming a sheikh. You need to have that reference, and that's how halachic rulings are made. In order for the person to have that halachic ruling, he has to completely devote himself to Hashem's words in order to lose himself in the process, because in order to get to the will of Hashem, which Hashem himself has no parameter, Hashem himself, halacha associated with God's essence. God's essence has no definition whatsoever, no parameters at all to speak of. In order for him to get in touch with that, he has to completely nullify himself. But the question is, okay, that's what we learned last time so much. But the question is, why is it that even if he nullifies himself, we'll get to the halacha? We're talking about Hashem himself. Hashem himself has no parameters whatsoever. So when we talk about the various soul powers, and we say these various soul powers have a way to relate to divine energies, okay, we know what we're talking about. But how is it that this person who's he's afraid of getting the wrong idea, and he's nullified totally, and he leaves? How is that? How does it work? And Hashem's essence now is able to be revealed in this person. What's the relationship between? How do you become a shidduch between this regular human being and the essence of Hashem? What's going on with him? Just because he's in a state of bittul, a state of nullification, why does that connect him to Hashem's essence? So we can understand this also from the analogy of human being. We're learning about the soul's various energies and how they are expressed in the body. Besides the soul's energies is also the essence of the soul. The essence of the soul as a creation is analogous to something which has no parameters. It's a created being, so it has some parameters, but for our purposes, the essence of the soul, vis-a-vis the rest of the, vis-a-vis the body, vis-a-vis the essence of the soul in comparison to the other soul powers, there's no parameters whatsoever. So the essence of the soul, when something matters, the essence of the soul, it does find expression even in the body. Like a story that Rebbe said many times about this. So this is also the vein before said a story about this guy who was in a fire and he was trying to escape. In order to escape, he squeezed into the small space, and after the fire, he tried to get into that space and he couldn't get into it. That means that because of his fear of losing his life, his body contracted in a way that he couldn't physically possibly do on his own. So, in a similar way, the essence of the soul. Why did this happen? What's going on? The essence of the soul took away the parameters of the body. The body is able to do something beyond the body.
So, about this fire.
Like Mechavar's fire. He couldn't get into it afterwards. So what is that? So the essence of the soul is affecting the body. What's the difference between the way the essence of the soul affects the body to the way the eye affects the body, the ear affects, and the power of eyesight affects the body, the power of hearing affects the body. The power of eyesight doesn't destroy the body, doesn't manipulate the body, it doesn't hurt, doesn't take away the body's existence. On the contrary, the body functions with the eyesight, the body functions with hearing. The body is a vessel for the seeing and the hearing of the soul. The body has within it the right parameters to harness the energies of the soul. But the way the essence of the soul is revealed in the body, in this analogy, is the body loses itself to the essence of the soul. It loses its parameters. So when we talk about seeing, and takes a sera, we talk about being a signpost for the divine. So the various sages of Israel throughout the generations, they were in a state of abnegation of ego, and therefore they were in touch with their divine soul, and therefore they were to channel Hashem's will according to their soul. Their soul was able to channel God's kindness, God's judgment. That's why Beis Shammai ruled to be strict, Beis Hillel ruled to be lenient. They were getting in touch with their soul and the divine energy that revealed their soul, that comes from the God's kindness and God's Buddha. They were a signpost for the divine. But for what level of the divine are we talking about? The way Hashem contracted his life. However, we're talking about the essence of Hashem. So here, there is nothing in the human experience that is a vessel for that. It's analogous to that, and therefore, the way halacha is discovered is not by by the person devoting to Hashem, devoting himself to Hashem beyond the parameters of the mind. In other words, halacha is not about your mind being in sync with your soul. Halacha is about your mind leaving mind. Your mind being nullified. Your mind being nullified beyond the parameters of the mind. That's why it says, where does halacha come from? From Yerushalayim. What's Yerushalayim? Yerushalayim means a state of absolute reverence for Hashem, a state of absolute abnegation of self, not just abnegation of ego, but abnegation of all parameters. In other words, the soul could be a soul and still hear the word of Hashem. He'll still hear Torah, but to hear Dvar Havaya, to connect to the essence of godliness, just like the body loses itself when something matters, the essence of the soul, so too when a Jew cares about getting halacha right, and he loses himself to because he wants to give over the word of Hashem in a way that is correct. He doesn't want the person to Chas Hashem violate Hashem's will. So that element within himself that cares so much causes him to go beyond the parameters of a human being and to be able to for Hashem himself to resonate in his mind and to give that ruling according to what Hashem wants. Any questions or comments? All right, have a great day, everybody.